In this video, I'm going to discuss one of the biggest issues that is going on in the residential assisted living industry. So if you're interested, make sure to stick around. What's going on, everyone? I hope you're all doing well. If you're new here, my name is Serge. Welcome to the channel. To all my reoccurring viewers, thank you so much for all the love and support that each and every single one of you guys have shown this channel. I greatly appreciate it. If you have not yet, feel free to check out the God Made podcast, Legion Assisted Living Advisors, and Legion Assisted Living Academy in the links down below. Also, if you're interested in possibly investing in a syndication in assisted living, feel free to go ahead and shoot me an email in this email right here, and then also it will be in the link down below if you're interested. So without further ado, let's go ahead and actually jump into the topic of this video. Now, one of the biggest things that is going on right now currently, due to the fact that there's a lot happening in our economy as far as this 1.9 trillion stimulus package that was passed and all the stimulus packages that were passed previously, and the concern about inflation possibly coming down the road due to all this money being printed. And because of that, things are starting to get a lot more expensive. As you guys are noticing, gas is getting more expensive. Your typical daily items such as milk, eggs, other things of that nature are starting to go up in prices, right? And things are just overall getting more expensive. Even real estate's continuing to get more expensive. Eventually, that will hopefully come down now that the feds that have increased rates and made it a little more complicated for second home buyers to actually purchase real estate, such as your private investors, so on and so forth. So hopefully that will kind of level out. But for the most part, overall, things are just expensive right now. That's kind of the gist of it. And because of that, residential assisted living is having to go through this shift and this change of increasing their rates because of this increase in expenses and increase in supplies, right? You're going to be having to spend money on groceries. Your utilities are probably going to be a little bit more expensive. Your items that you buy for your residents are going to be more expensive. Things that are your everyday items are starting to get more expensive. And because of that, these rates will need to be increased. For the most part, these residential assisted living homeowners are still setting their rates fairly low compared to what they should be setting them. And because of that, it's causing quite a bit of concern and quite a bit of a problem in the industry, because if people are still charging the same rates that they were charging like back in 2019, 2018, life is no longer the same as it was back then. And because of that, people are still charging those same rates. And that is something that is of concern and is a big issue, because if people are still charging those same rates as they did back in 2018, 2019, it's going to affect everybody else who's trying to increase their rates, but families are just going to continue going to these people with lower rates. And overall, that's affecting the overall market, at least in the area that you're in, if people are charging these lower rates. So that is something that I think a lot of care homeowners need to take in consideration, especially the ones that are currently operating and the ones that are looking to get it in the industry. You guys will need to start off your rates a bit higher than normal, what you guys probably would have thought you would have increased your rates to. For instance, a private bedroom right now, across the board, average in nationwide. I know I made a video about this previously. It was 3,800, but apparently it's gone up to 4,100 nationwide. And here in the state of Arizona, I believe it's at 3,700 or even 3,800 for a private bedroom. So before, it used to be around, it would hover around 33, 3,500. So that's increased. That's gone up $300-$400, give or take. So a lot of people need to start taking this in consideration, because if you're not doing this, it's going to end up hurting you in the long run, because overall things are just going to continue getting more expensive. You're not going to be able to afford the things that you normally would have been able to afford, and that's going to end up crumbling your business at the end of the day. And if you're one of the care homeowners who's not increasing their rates, you're not doing anything to fight the inflation that's happening or going to happen, and you're not increasing your prices as other things are going up. Minimum wage wasn't increased to $15, which that will potentially happen down the road. It's something that you want to keep in mind and keep an eye on down the pipeline, and you don't want to just base off of the fact that it's not currently right now $15, but it could potentially be $15. So you will have to at that point increase your rates for your beds and for your residents, because otherwise you're not going to be able to make payroll and you're not going to be able to keep a sustainable, healthy business if you continue having rates that you had back in 2018, 2019. And so I think that's something that people really need to consider. And it's something that is going to ruffle a lot of feathers. Overall, care homeowners need to increase their rates and bring that standard up, so that way other care homeowners can increase their rates as well, and that it can set the baseline. No matter what, families will be obligated to pay that if every other care home they go to is at that same rate. And so I encourage every existing care homeowner to increase your rates, look within your area, see how much prices have gone up in your area, and just adjust your rates, right? If you have a vacancy, start adjusting that rate up, and do not take anybody that can't pay that rate. There's another argument on the other side of like, well, what happens if family can no longer afford it? But keep in mind, you're running a business. Their money issues and the things that they've gone through and how they've managed their money is not your fault. It's not something that should be your fault, and it shouldn't be a burden that you carry on your business because of their money decisions and how they've managed their money. Because an argument that I like to make is, when you go to a doctor, you don't try to negotiate their services, right? Whatever it's worth and whatever they charge you, you pay for it, and there's no negotiating that. And so a lot of people need to understand that, and families are willing to pay for what they think it's worth to them, right? Their sanity, their overall care, their overall health as well, for themselves and not only for their loved ones. How much is that worth to them? And when you ask them that, they can usually be pretty honest with you and tell you, there's probably not a dollar amount that they can put on that, but for the most part, it's worth it to them. So make sure that you have that discussion. If you currently have residents and you want to put in a 30-day notice and let them know that you're increasing the rates by $200-$300, feel free to make sure that you give them that 30-day notice, or whatever your policy is as far as increasing rent, and let them know exactly why. Let them know that things are just getting more expensive and that you have to keep up with the expenses and the increased prices on things. And if you're providing really good care and you're taking care of those residents, the families will have no problem paying you that extra amount that you are starting to charge. Thank you so much for all the love and support that each and every single one of you guys have shown this channel. I really do appreciate it. If you made it all the way to the end, consider hitting that like button, smashing that subscribe button, and go watch all these other videos up here. And I will talk to you all in the next video. God bless.